All right, guys. Good evening, everybody. Welcome aboard to the weekly recap for GAR Capital. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. It is Sunday evening, November 12th, 2023. Glad to be with you this evening, recapping the week and previewing the next week of our trades. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Futures are down this evening, 86 points in the Dow. NASDAQ down about 0.41%, S&P down 0.34%. The Russell down about 0.47 currently. I also got here the dollar is down, crude oil is down. So again, a little bit of a pullback this evening. The good news is that we're out of all of our risk in terms of premium signals. So that's a good sign. Wanted to really reiterate the point to take our gains. So let's go ahead and segue to our week. As you can see, 80% this week. Mara we filled last week, if you remember, hit in the money twice past week, was down as much as 90%, came back to plus 3%. I made a judgment call and said, let's hold for the analysis, stick with the analysis, excuse me, and hold. Didn't work. Again, hindsight being 2020, I should have just taken it. Would have been better for our win-loss, but we were at 1048. Really what I was looking for was 1072. That would have got us at least 20%, 30%. Instead, it reversed on us and it turned into a loss. I'll die on that hill on that one. I stuck with it, and Mara has been good to us. So yes, the one real big loss of the week was that one, but the rest of the week was phenomenal. Microsoft was in the money, deep in the money. DraftKings in the money. Apple 182.50s as well in the money. We played the 185s as well, hit those. Tesla 200 puts. Again, it's not all just calls here at GAR Capital. We also do puts too. Palantir and AMD. Again, have you noticed kind of the same names? AMD we did twice this week. We've talked about how well we've traded with them. Palantir 1 for 1 this week. 1 for 2, excuse me. 1 and 1 this week. This one was tough because on Friday evening we were staring at it. We got in the money, so we're hitting the target. It's just the timing. Wednesday and Thursday they really chopped us up on Palantir. The whole week it was just a pretty ugly chart in terms of just chop. And here was the consolidation period that we had since we filled on Monday, or was it on Tuesday? Let me make sure. I think it was Tuesday. And we're getting that push higher, and then we just got lower, and then we finally got the break we were looking for. Got to 1972. It did not get to green. It got as best as 19% in the money. So even hitting the strike price isn't enough. You have to be right on time. The good news is that we did not sit on our hands. Once we broke out and we were going higher, we knew where we were going on Palantir. We did the 20 calls for this next week. I have a runner, but again, we hit that for 40%, got as high as 55%. We also did AMD, like we talked about. So Friday, we hit AMD, Tesla, Palantir, and Apple, I believe, or what that was it. Yes, those are the days that we got those. So rounded off the week very, very well. Very excited to see that as we continue November in a very strong way. Unfortunately, our streak ended at 17. So again, we just have to start a new one. That's kind of the goal. Short of the best one that we've had all year, that was 21 in a row in July, but we did break the streak, the second best streak that we had in February. I believe that was 13 in a row. So trending in the right direction. 11 out of 13 this month, 85%, doing exceptionally well. Palantir, only a 30% loss. That's where we closed it. We went ahead and kept everyone up to date as we went throughout the premium signals with the charts and everything. That's what we want to do. We want to keep you guys up to date so you guys can make your own decisions. Mara, we gave everyone a heads up before the earnings report as well. It continued to go higher, but then we saw what happened with that reversal with also Bitcoin falling. So that's where we were. Just ran out of time on that one. Now we move forward. With that being said, let's go over some stats. Again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the days that we trade. Wednesday, still the best day in terms of open trades. Friday being the second. Monday's tomorrow. So 70%, we don't do so well. So maybe we just make it a, kind of a watch party view. We're just going to watch and we're going to take our notes and see where we're going in terms of that. So an observation day is a better word for Monday. So with that being said, let's see if I can also pivot here to the stocks we trade. So some of the names that we trade this year, we talked about this AMD adding to the total. Tesla, 90%. So again, we're going to focus on the names that we do well. Palantir, again, it should have been 12 out of 13, but 11 out of 13 gets us to 85%. On our power rankings, that's what I call it now. I talked about that this weekend here on the blog. AMD being the best stock that we trade for the year in terms of options, undefeated. QQQ, 10 out of 11, but mostly we're doing NQ now since Qs are getting a little expensive in terms of premium. Tesla, 19 out of 21, done very, very well. Palantir, 11 out of 13, 85% even with that loss, and DraftKings being 80%. I said on the blog, kind of a good starting place if you're building a watch list. Stick to the names that have worked out for you. Also, I wrote here on the blog as well, QQQ breaking out, target of 380. We got as high as 378. What was that? We got as high as 378.50. We didn't play Qs, but we played NQ. So the NQ is being futures. So that's where we are. So we looked at a couple of names, obviously, that we do well with. So we'll go over some names together. Nick is compiling the watch list for the blog and for the premium and masterclass members. Want to go ahead and let you guys know ahead of this week, we do have CPI. So here's the win-loss numbers in terms of specific news events weeks. So again, I went ahead and tracked that too. Let me go and bring up Forex Factory so we can see it. Forex Factory, Tuesday, core CPI and CPI year over year. So that's the big one. That's at 8:30 in the morning. That's before the open. So again, we're going to use Monday as an observation day. We don't have any risk open in terms of option signals for premium members. That's what we're watching specifically, is getting ready for CPI. PPI on Wednesday and retail sales. We also have crude oil inventories. Thursday, we have unemployment claims. Unemployment claims have come in stronger than expected lately. Friday, building permits. That is a leading indicator for housing. So we'll watch that on Friday, but it's not going to be a huge market mover. At least that's not the assumption. CPI weeks, we do 80% win-loss in terms of signals that week. So pretty good. Pretty good to see that, CPI weeks we do pretty well. The week after is Thanksgiving, guys. That's a short week. We only do 66% win-loss. So let's do all we can this week when the odds are in our favor based on previous patterns, versus the week after where it's a holiday, we're going to take a little step back on risk. So at least we have a game plan. Let's do what we can now so we don't have to do too much later. So here's a couple of names I'm watching. We're going to stick to the names that have worked. So let's take a look at Palantir. I got an alert above 2024. We did the 20s last week. So again, I have a runner on the 20s. But if you break 2024, I'm taking a look at the 21s, 22s around this zone. We have a gap to fill here at 23.93. So keep an eye on Palantir. AMD, I got an alert above 119.71. If we break that, I'm taking a look at the 38.2 fib on the daily. That's 122.48. So keep an eye on the 122 to 121 call strikes. Again, the semiconductors are looking excellent. One for Nick. Nick was talking about Intel that he likes. So he likes it above 39.25. There is a gap to fill at 42.65. Something to look at moving forward. So again, let's see if we get that break. I like it around above 40. But he likes it above 39.25. I like AMD a little more than Intel, but again, something to look at. NVIDIA has a path to 502. The problem is I assume that these premiums are going to be absolutely juiced. They report the week of Thanksgiving, not this week. This week is a retail-focused week. So we went in and posted the earnings previews on the earnings calendar in part of the Discord server. So again, you could see Home Depot, Target reporting, Alibaba, and some breakdowns here from Reuters on what is expected from these names there on the server. So taking a look at NVIDIA, again, breaking out of this trend line here that I drew. And again, my target being 502.66. If we could break above 484.72, you could target 502 to 505. OPEX this week, guys. So again, be very careful. I'll place an alert at 485.37. If we get above that, then we can play it. But I think AMD is a cheaper play. So we can take a look at multiple semiconductor names. So NVIDIA, AMD being my favorite two, Intel being another that we have. We'll probably have that on the watch list. We talked about Palantir. We talked about Apple multiple times on the morning note. So I have an alert above 187.50. If we do break that, I'll target 190 calls for that gap fill. Very simple stuff. As long as we stay above the 100-day, that's pretty much all we need there. In terms of another name that we were watching was Tesla. Remember when we broke down below the level that I had, I think it was around 212. If we get above 229.21, I'm taking a look at the 240 calls for more upside. We did fill this gap here below. For more downside, you're going to have to break the lows around 193.34. Again, I'm taking a look at a possible bounce, but again, we're still at mid-range. The only thing with Tesla that stands out that is interesting is that you're bouncing above the 200-week and the 50-week moving average. So we kind of want to stay above those levels. You could always target 220, but I think if you break 220 first, that can give us a path to 230 to 240. 229, 230 break would be a little more on the conservative side, which is completely fine. I have no issues with that. But again, it's a name that we've done well with. DraftKings, one more. Love the price action here. This is a name that I've talked about for a little bit. 34.48, that's your support. Got to stay above that. If we break below it, then 32 is a possibility. But again, I'm looking for more upside. It's a beautiful price action here. Get above 36.06. I'll take a look at the 37 to 38 strike calls on DraftKings. So those are the names I'm looking for. Very similar to the ones that we've been talking about lately. If it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of thing. Let's stay consistent and move focus moving forward. In terms of the almanac, again, the only thing that stands out here is Friday OPEX. So again, that just means higher volumes. Let's see our weeks when we have OPEX. We're right around 73%. But again, the CPI inflation weeks is when we do best. So very excited for this week coming up. We know that the week with Thanksgiving is a little more on the difficult side for us. So let's do all we can this week. Again, I have no issues with shorting. I think in terms of S&P 500, 43.50 seems to be that resistance that's going to be holding up here, 43.60 or so. This is more likely tomorrow. I think we're probably going to get a little bit of a pullback, maybe to 44.90, 44.80, 43.80, excuse me, 43.90 zone. You just got to hold this trend line here to around 43.50. So again, right around 50 points away. Could it be kind of a digestion day for stocks since Friday was such a great price action? Again, we're not going to just shoot up to the moon, guys. It's not how it works. So we're going to play it smart. We're going to see what we're going to do moving forward. We do know that seasonality in December is strong. So again, you're not late, and we're still early, let's just say, in terms of the cycle from what I see. So again, we'll play it smart, see what we do, and go from there, guys. Have a great rest of your evening. I will see you guys tomorrow for the morning note. Have a good one. Cheers.